reached out and asked if you had read the indictment. You said you read it word for word, page for page, right?
I did. I keep up. I love Jackson.
Even though they've not been in court and they've not been found guilty, it's just an indictment at this point.
They don't see it. My first statement was, think of your family. Think about your family. Put your family first.
I never thought in a million years we would have been put in the situation that we were in. Never. Because we went through our whole career doing the right thing.
It's utterly ridiculous to me. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Othor Cain Show. I am glad that you are here. It has been a very, 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 very long time, right? It's been a long time, but I'm glad that you're here. Please share this video, invite some folk to come and join the conversation with us tonight. Got a couple of things I want to talk about tonight, namely, though, the Senate District 26 race, right? The runoff is tomorrow. So tomorrow is the day, right? Tomorrow is D-Day, right? It's the day. Adrian, how are you, ma'am? So share the video, invite some folk to come into the room with us so that we can talk tonight. All right, got a lot to talk about. Who knew that a local Senate seat could be so expensive? Who knew? Carol, I've missed being here too. I think I've had so much going on. So I've missed being here. We're talking about some revamping and figuring out if this is the best time slot. I don't know any of that anymore, but I got a meeting this week. My producer and I are going to get together this week so we can kind of chit-chat about some things because we want to be bigger and better in 2026, and we certainly need your support to make that happen, right? So I want to talk about the Senate District 26 race. I kind of want to talk about Ole Miss kind of felt a sting like JSU felt a sting a few years back. Hopefully we can get into that, and then and a couple other things we'll use tonight as an open mic opportunity as well. But listen, let's just go on and deal with the elephant in the room as far as I am concerned, and that is this. I got to take my glasses off; they're so dirty, so that I can really read. But I want to talk about the elephant that's in the room in my mind, and that is this Senate District 26 race. Who knew that a Senate seat could be so expensive, right? Who knew? We'll get to that, though. We'll get to that in a minute. But listen. I am a big proponent of keeping the main thing, right? Keeping the main thing. Sometimes we can get so distracted. And we totally get off subject, right? We totally what's the word am I looking for? We get off track, we get off subject, we deflect. We want to make the election about something that it isn't, right? We do all of this stuff, but I think that we've got to understand that voters are tired of garbage. Voters are tired of lies. They're tired of being deceived. Voters are tired, of this negative campaigning and all of that. Let's keep the main thing. And I think that the main thing in this Senate District 26 was, I'm telling you, Adrian, tired of it. I mean, just absolutely Tired of it. Tired of the negative campaigning. Tired of the lies. Just tired of the garbage, that comes with campaigning. Just absolutely tired of it. And so, in keeping, yeah, Zach, tired of the drama. Yeah, Zach, we will see just how tired voters are tomorrow. We will absolutely see that. But to stay on course here tonight, I think that the main thing in District 26 are the issues that are germane to District 26 and to the state as a whole. I think we've got to learn how to keep campaigns focused on issues, right? Focused on issues and who best can serve you, right? Who best can serve you? We've got to realize, how do we connect the candidates with the issues, right? And I want to start with and we're gonna get to this budget, these finance reports. We're gonna get to that, but I want to start with what I think is an unfair attack. And you may disagree with me, and that's fine, and I will say from the onset, you have a right to choose to vote for whomever you want to. You have a right. And you're right. We the people want results and progression. I agree with you 100%. So you have a right to vote for who best align with your interests, right? Who best aligns with the issues that you think are important. And so I want to deal with one thing, one issue, and it's not even an issue. I just think sometimes we tend to pick something that we think is negative and we want to make it an issue, right? And somebody who's been walking the walk. You better say it, Veronica. That's right. And somebody who's been walking the walk. You better say that. You better say that, say that, say that. So I think that I think oftentimes what we do, honestly, I think oftentimes what we do is that we allow folk to take something that they perceive as negative and want to exploit it because they think it's negative and they think that it's a big deal for everybody, right? They think something is probably negative. They want to exploit what they consider negative, and they want to run on that, right? Like just today, I probably heard three or four, or watched 3 or 4 TV commercials talking about public schools. Let's talk about public schools in a real kind of way. All right, let's talk about public schools, in a real kind of way tonight, because I think it's important, that you understand. I saw a post today as well. So I saw about 3 or 4 commercials in rapid succession, 6 or 7 minutes apart. That may be an exaggeration, but really close, right? Really close. Um, about public schools, and I got some mailers today, and over the course of last week, right? And I got one from both candidates, Kamisha Mumford and Letitia Johnson. So I got mailers from both. I want to compare these on issues, and then I promise you I'm gonna get to the public schools. So let's start with Letitia Johnson's, right? She says, I will never vote to send a dime of your public tax dollars to private schools. That's one thing she says. I will never vote to send a dime of your public tax dollars to private schools. And then on this side, it says the grades are in and they speak for themselves. A plus, all 5 children educated in public schools. A plus, former JPS school board president. A plus, former parent of the year. A plus, proven champion for fully funding public schools. I don't know if that's an A plus because there's no record, right? A plus, will oppose taking money out of public schools to fund private schools. Well, you've not been elected, so you have no grade. How is that an A plus? But that's not the point, right? Neither the grades are the point. That's really not the point. The point of this is trying to distinguish that she's for public education and she'll fight for public education, which is a good thing, and alluding to the fact that that's not the focus of her opponent. Now, that's one thing. So this is the flyer with just focusing on public education. Now, Kamisha Mumford's flyer, right, talks about several issues, right? Talks about several issues. So on one side, stronger together, connected to the community, connected to you. Sounds better already, right? Kamisha Mumford for Mississippi State Senate District 26. And her quote on this one is, I don't represent any political machine or special interest. I represent everyday people who want safer neighborhoods, better opportunities, and leaders who serve and listen. It's powerful, right? Powerful. And in several different dimensions. And it's no secret that it's no secret, so you'll understand that I am 100% a supporter of Kamisha Mumford, but I am trying to be as fair as I can in comparison, right? So then on the other side of her Mumford's flyer, first issue, public school dollars belong in our public schools. As senator, I will fight firmly against redirecting funds to our private schools. Our children deserve the best that our public education system has to offer. That's one point. Here's another point. Public safety is not just policing. It's not just responding to crime. It requires a collaborative approach. As a senator, I will work across the aisle to fight for better lighting in our neighborhoods, rebates for citizens with Ring cameras, and push for more effective mental health care. Strong, man, strong. And next point, I will work to reduce Mississippi's brain drain by making our state a place where young people can learn, work, and truly thrive. That means expanding student loan forgiveness, attracting and growing high-paying jobs, strengthening workforce development, and offering down payment assistance to help our public servants build homes right here in Mississippi. Now, you decide the issues. Which one of these speak as a leader and which one of these comes across as you're just simply trying to focus on one issue, and that's public schools. And the reason that you're trying to focus on one issue being public schools is because Kamisha Mumford's children are in private schools. That's no secret, right? Let's talk about why. Let's talk about why. Let's talk about why. It's no secret. It's not negative. It's no secret. It isn't negative at all. At all. That's not a bad thing. I am pro public schools 24/7, 365. Okay, I am. Right? And I'm just trying to talk about this where it makes sense so that we won't get into the foolishness. Here's the thing. The Mumfords made a choice for and about their children. They made a choice based on needs, based on the needs of their children. Point blank, period. None of you know, except for the Mumfords, as to the learning capabilities of their children, as to the need of their children. Because guess what? One size does not fit all. We all learn differently, right? We all input information and offer an output of information differently, right? So an attempt to attack Kamisha on, on funding public education, or the attempt to suggest that because her kids are in private school, she would divert taxpayers' money for private school. It's absolutely false. It is absolutely false. She's been very vocal about why she and her husband made the choice for their children, their needs, their learning capabilities, right? The structure that they need. She's been very, very, very clear. But guess what? As a taxpayer in District 26, she's still paying taxes to public schools, right? She's still paying taxes to public schools. Now, I've gotten this several times. I don't know if it's true. I've gotten it though, and Adrian, you can chime in here. And Dr. J, if you want to put up that link where folk can join the conversation, please do. And Adrian, feel free to chime in here. I've gotten this several times. I've not had an opportunity to fact check it or vet it. And while the Johnson says that their children were public school educated, someone made a post, someone shared, while they all went to public schools, not all of them graduated from public schools. I don't know how true that is. I've not fact checked it, but I've seen several posts related to that at least one of their children actually graduated from a private school. And so, Adrian, if you want to chime in there, there's the link. Happy to pull you in. Yes, Zach, I was told that the Johnson's daughter chimed in on that and verified that one of her siblings actually graduated from a private school. Again, I've not fact checked it, but someone said to me that was the Johnson's daughter that chimed in on that. Here's the thing. As parents, as guardians, or whatever your role is, if you make the decision about your children's educational needs, requirements, or whatever, you have a right to do that. Greg says, which means absolutely nothing as it relates to being a public servant and your role in it. Most, especially if you, especially if you have displayed and evidence that you support public schools. When you invited us to welcome students back to school, Gerald was front and center represent. No doubt about it. No, and thank you for reminding me of that, Greg. I totally forgot that. Thank you for reminding me of that, brother. I totally forgot that. But let me tell you this. Put a paper clip there, right? Put a paper clip there, and I'm going to come back to this. I think children are off limits when it comes to campaigning, right? I think children are off limits when it comes to campaigning. Children are totally off limits when it comes to campaigning. The Mumford children are, young, elementary school. and maybe maybe Garrison might be middle school. I don't know. I don't know. But I think children are off limits. But I want to also go back to Greg. Thank you again, Greg, for reminding me of this. You're absolutely right. Gerald showed up at Galloway Elementary School during the summer when these third graders were taking this reading test that they were stressed out over, right? He was front and center, offering high fives and words of encouragement to these children. And that wasn't an act, right? That wasn't an act. It wasn't something that was contrived. It wasn't an act, man. It really wasn't an act at all. That was real. That was real. And as a public servant, you know, there are other folk. There are other folk at that Capitol right now who have voted against school chores and voted not to send monies to private schools, and their children are in private schools because they understand taxpayers' money and they understand where it should go, and they understand that public dollars should not be used to support private schools. That is a no-brainer. And so to attempt to create this false narrative that just because someone's kid, you know, is in private school, then, you know, their vote goes to private school. That's absurd to me. That's absolutely absurd. Greg, I'm telling you, it was very genuine. He was front and center, doing what he does, you know, giving those kids high fives, speaking encouraging words, you know, into their life. That was real stuff. That was real stuff. That was real stuff. And so I think that voters have an opportunity tomorrow because for me, the choice is clear. It really is about integrity. It really is about service, right? It really is about service. And not only service to start this January, but service that has been happening in your community for a very, very, very long time. Not service that will start in January, but service that has been happening in your community for a very long time. For a very long time. For a very long time. Camisa has put in the work, man. She's a proven leader. Stack the resumes against each other. Just do that for God's sake. Stack the resumes against each other. Proven leadership, proven service, a proven person that shows up. She does. She does. So her kids being in private school is an absolute non-issue. Man, and she's been so upfront about that, addressing it head on, right? Addressing it head on. That good word, servitude. Kamisha is a servant leader. She's a servant leader, man. And I just think we've got to stop all of this negative stuff, man. I just think we've got to stop it. We just got to stop it. Stack the resumes up. Put them side by side. The resumes speak for themselves. This is not a grab, right? This is not a come up grab. This is not something to build a resume. This isn't for Kamisha. This isn't something to build a resume. This isn't a means to an end. This is about service. This is about service. And I think the voters in Senate District 26 are smarter than we give them credit for. Darryl, see you jumping ahead of me. I'm so with you, man. I'm so with you. We're right on par, brother. Darryl says, when someone does things like stooping low and overspending to get something, it begs the question as to what really is at play here? Since when did a Mississippi Senate seat become so valuable to someone for such tactics, especially when we could assume, right? When we could assume the voting record on issues would be the same. What really is someone after to make this be different? Things that make you say, and that's a fair comparison, right? That's a fair comparison. So if you suggest that because my kids are in a private school, then I'm going to vote to send public dollars, taxpayers' money to private school, then one can assume that if you've gotten all of this money, like $150,000 from your law firm, $150,000 from your law firm, the same law firm that your husband hired to do some work for the NAACP, the same law firm that's not an African American owned law firm, that was hired to represent the NAACP that gave you $150,000. By your reasoning, then one can suggest that you will be guided by special interest groups and political machines just by reason of deduction, right? Just by reason of deduction. If you want to compare apples to oranges, if that's what we're doing. If that's what we're doing. So if we're assuming, again, if we're assuming that because the Mumford's kids are in private school, that she's going to vote to send public dollars to private schools, then should we assume that because you got all of this money rolling in and $150,000 from your law firm, the same law firm that your husband hired for the NAACP, should we then assume right? Should we then assume that you will be guided by money, special interest groups, political favors and alignment? Exactly. That's the question. That's the question. Why would a law firm invest that much money? A law firm that's out of state for a small Senate race in Mississippi. And dare to let them cook. You know, why would they do that? Why would they do that? So I think at the end of the day, we've got to be honest with the people. Yeah, Greg, it's the same circular logic. It is. It absolutely is. And Zach says, why didn't they hire a law firm from District 26 or in Jackson or African American, right? Or African American. After all, NAACP, I'm just saying, right? Quid pro. I don't even want to talk about that. Quid pro quo. I don't even want to talk about that. But listen, let's be real. Let's be real. Put the resumes side by side. Put work in the community side by side. Put who you know side by side. Who shows up on top every time? Kamisha Mumford. Every time. Kamisha Mumford. Every time. Kamisha Mumford. This is about service. And I think that we do a disservice to voters when we think that they lack the mindset to see through all of this stuff. I think we do a disservice to voters when we think that they're unintelligent and that they can't see through this crap. I think we do a disservice. I think we do a disservice to voters when we think that we could just play in their face. I think we do a disservice, right? And I saw somebody post where, you know, school board members are supporting Ms. Johnson. Some current and some former school board members are supporting Ms. Johnson. That's fine. That's fine. It is. Doesn't make her record any different, right? It doesn't prove that she is this staunch expert on public. So it doesn't prove that. That's fine. But you're just trying to continue to perpetuate a false narrative. But if I serve with her, you know, on the board, I probably would support her as well. You know, if I serve with her on the board, you know, you develop friendships, you develop relationships, you develop an alignment, right? Hey, Pauline, glad to have you here, ma'am. And so here's the thing: just stop playing in our faces. And voters, you have a responsibility. Let's talk about our responsibility. All right, enough of them. Let's talk about our. Hey, Sister O, let's talk about our responsibility. All right, let's talk about our responsibility tomorrow. Right? Hagen said it proves that they are delusional because they see what the results were when she was on the board. Yeah. And and I did do some digging about her time and her service and her record on the board. And I'll just say this, because again, I want to keep the main thing, but I'll just say this. Her time on JPS's board was not necessarily stellar, especially right before she resigned. She didn't complete a term, so her record was not necessarily stellar. And I think she did a full term. I think, and maybe she quit. And I don't have those notes, so let me just stop. I don't have those notes in front of me, so let me stop and not speculate. I hate I didn't bring them in front of or bring them with me tonight. But I will just tell you this: her record, especially her absences leading up to the time that she called it quits, not very stellar. Not very stellar. But anyway, aside from that, let's get to our responsibility tomorrow. We have a huge responsibility tomorrow. First of all, this will be the first time in 32 years that we will have different representation in Senate District 32. Right? Right? This will be the first time in 32 years that we will have a new senator in Senate District 26. And that speaks volumes. You don't want anyone who needs on-the-job training. First of all, this upcoming legislative session in January, it's going to be a tough one. And school choice and all of that, it's going to be a main issue. PERS, it's going to be a main issue. You don't need someone, we can't afford to elect someone who needs on-the-job training. We need someone who can hit the ground running day one, who's ready to vote day one, who's ready to serve day one, who's ready to listen to their constituents day one. Not listen to other folks, but listen to their constituents and show up for their constituents. That's what we've got to vote for. That's what we've got to vote for, man. That's what we got to vote for. Oh, Pauline, that's sweet of you. We do Venmo as well, Pauline. Thank you. Right? Um, um, 32 years since we've had a new senator in District 32. We cannot afford to gamble with this. We can't afford to gamble with this. We need experience. We need someone who has shown up in our community time and time and time again. We can't afford to elect someone that we're just now getting to know. Right? This legislative session is too paramount for us to be clumsy with our votes tomorrow. Zach, I agree. Zach says we need someone who understands the law. This is a critical election for all Mississippians. You're absolutely right. This isn't just about Senate District 26. This is about the entire state. We need someone who understands the law. Pauline, you're right. Senate District 26 voters, we cannot afford to gamble with this. We need experience. We need experience, man. We do. We need experience. Taxpayer money, Greg says, shouldn't go to anything other than public schools. If there is an issue with public schools, we need to continue to work towards fully funding and ensuring that public schools are fully resourced. You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct, Greg. You're 100% correct. We need a fighter for us. We need a fighter for us, man. Someone who understands the small details and someone who will pay attention to the small details, because you know the devil is in the details. So do I, Adrian. So do I. So do I. So do I. I live in Senate District 26. And this is absolutely critical. It's absolutely critical. It is absolutely critical. It's critical, but it's not that expensive. Not at all. It's critical, but it's not that expensive. Not that expensive. Hell, the job doesn't even pay that much. Far from it, if you want to know the truth. Far, far, far from it. Why would an out-of-state law firm invest $150,000 in this race, man? I don't know. I don't know. But voters, back to you. We've got a job to do tomorrow. We've got a job to do. It is critical. It's critical. It's critical. We cannot afford to gamble with this tomorrow. We just cannot. We cannot afford to gamble with this tomorrow. Adrian says we need someone who can think for themselves, not someone who has to be fed on how and what to do. That's a great point. That's a great point. That's a great point. That's a great point. So polls open at 7 a.m. Polls close at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Finish the job. Kamisha was the #1 vote getter during the first round. Sadly, we had far too many people in the race, and she could not get 50% plus one on the first round. So I encourage you, go back to the polls tomorrow. Let's finish the job. Go back to the polls. Let's finish what we started, right? Let's finish. Proven leadership, servant leadership, integrity with leadership. Leadership matters, right? Remember our old hashtag here? Hashtag leadership matters. And it does. Leadership matters, man. Leadership matters. Leadership matters. All right. That's my soapbox for that. That's my soapbox. You know, and Zach raised another good point, and I'll say this. If you are looking for someone who already has a plan, who understands the issues, who will listen to you, because you are the most important people there are. You are. Someone who's ready to go. Or as my brother would say, ready to go. Right? You are. Kamisha Mumford is that person. They've done the work. They've laid out, she's laid out her issues. She's laid out her plans. You have full access to her. The ball is in our hands tomorrow. Leadership matters. Hashtag leadership matters. The ball is in our hands tomorrow. What you gonna do? Right? What you gonna do? The ball is in our hands tomorrow. So I hope you do the right thing. It's huge. We can't afford to gamble with this. We can't afford to miss this opportunity. We've not had a new senator in this district in 32 years, man. 32 years. So we got to get it. We got to get it. All right. So look. So quickly before we get out of here. So I guess Ole Miss is feeling the sting like Jackson State felt the sting a few years ago, changing coaches. Listen to me. Listen to me, y'all. I don't care what field you're in, what industry you're in, who does not want a better opportunity? Yeah, the mayors of Clinton and Richmond certainly did endorse her. That is big. That is big. And I could make a point on that too, but I'll come back to that. Let me just finish this real quick. Let me just finish this thought real quick. So listen, I don't care what industry you're in, what job market you're in, who would not go after a better opportunity for them, the family, and whatever other thing that they may say as to why they would take a higher paying job. Who would leave $90 million on the table? Who in their right mind? Like I think based on some of the stuff that I read, I think Lane was making $9 million plus bonuses and all of that at Ole Miss. I'm in the wrong field, man. I should have learned sports. Right? I think he was making like $9 million a year plus bonuses and incentives and all of that at Ole Miss. And I think at LSU over the course of But we're gonna get to that, J. Marlon. Let me finish. Let me finish. I hear you, brother. I hear you. But look, so I think that Lane is gonna get $90,000 over a 6-year period, and I think that comes out to maybe 13, 14 million a year plus bonuses, incentives, and all that other stuff, right? Now we care about it all, Zach. We can't just stay on District 26. All right, we're gonna come back to it. I promise. I promise. Right? So who wouldn't jump at that? Who wouldn't jump? Who wouldn't jump at that? Who wouldn't jump at that? I think we all would, no matter what industry, no matter what field. But to J Mar's point, and it's kind of the same point that I made with Coach Prime, I do think it's about how you exit, right? I do think it is about how you leave. I don't think anybody in the right mind should not be mad with hey Kende, what's going on, my brother? I don't think anybody in their right mind should be angry with someone for taking advantage of an opportunity. Let me get an offer to leave. I'm gone. And I won't string you along, I promise. But anyway, so I do think though the details are in how you exit. And I maintain this. I think that Jackson State would have rolled out the red carpet or the blue carpet for Coach Prime upon his exit if given the right opportunity. That didn't happen, right? But I cannot blame the man for taking a better job. I can't blame Lane for wanting and taking another gig. And I do know that Lane stretched this thing out, and he attempted to deny the rumors and all of that. And it just got ugly. It just got ugly. If he knew he was gonna do this, why string them along? Now, I will tell you this, though. I am a little indifferent, and this is just me, but I understand it. But I am a little indifferent. Ole Miss decided that they didn't want to keep him around, that he couldn't coach the playoffs or whatever it is that they're going to, that he could do that. They said, see, the Egg Bowl was the end of his career, and he just, at Ole Miss, but he simply wanted to finish what he started. He got those boys there, and he wanted to finish that. I'm indifferent. I know why Ole Miss made that decision. I get it. I get it. But I cannot hate on him at all for a better opportunity. Not at all. But listen, Zach brought up this point, and this will be our last for tonight. Zach brought up this point that the mayors of Clinton and Ridgeland endorsed Kamisha Mumford. I think that speaks volumes. I know folk want to say, Republican supporting her. I think it's necessary. Kamisha knows how to work with people. She knows how to cross the lines to make things work. Period. You can't have someone going in with a tunnel vision. You can't have someone going in who's hell bent on working with Republicans or white folks. You just cannot do that and be successful. That's a whole lot of other folks that probably need to leave the Capitol because they're in that mindset that they cannot support anybody across the aisle. And that's just a wrong attitude. That's the wrong attitude. That's the wrong position. So I think it absolutely speaks volumes that Gene McGee and the new mayor in Clinton, whose name escapes me right now, that they both endorsed her. Right, absolutely, Vic. Mumford for 26. I'm telling you about them. So I think that speaks volumes because they recognize that they don't have to feel threatened, they don't have to feel intimidated, they don't have to feel bullied, because they recognize that they will have someone who will represent all of District 26 and not just a small portion of the district. You've got to have leaders like that, right? You got to have leaders like that. You got to have leaders like that who can work across the aisle. And if we're honest, and I'll call a spade, and folk usually hate me for calling spade a spade. But if we're honest, I think part of the reason that Mayor Horn is having a lot of success right now in the city is because people feel comfortable working with him. All segments of the city feel comfortable working with him. Though I do think he's gonna have to focus his attention in some other areas sooner rather than later, because it's coming, man. But I do think he's experiencing a lot of success right now because folk on all sides feel comfortable. Leadership matters. Relationship matters. Thank you, Vic. William Purdy, I guess that's it. William Purdy, absolutely. Tomorrow, the ball is in your court. I don't know what else to say. The ball is in your court. It is. It is. And another thing, I promise you I'm leaving. Another thing is, I am excited to have someone who has a relationship with God. Someone that's a faith leader, someone that's connected to the faith community, right? I'm excited about that. Man, Jim, you should be my press guy. You're absolutely right. I got to mention that before I get out of here. But yeah, I'm excited to have someone who is strong in their faith, who's secure in their faith, right? That they'll pray before they make a decision, and that they become, we all become a part of their decision making. So I'm happy to have someone. I welcome having someone of faith in office. And that's that on that. Thank you for the reminder, Jamar. Listen, let me shout this out, a shameless plug for me. So on Wednesday morning, I have an opportunity to speak at this event at Galloway Elementary School. The event is called Donuts with Dads, right? The event is called Donuts with Dads. It's an opportunity to get more men inside of our public schools and to spend some time in our public schools, whether it's hall monitoring, test monitoring, mentoring one-on-one. The idea is to get more men inside of these school buildings. And while the event is happening at Galloway, and I want you to come, while the event is happening at Galloway, you don't have to have a mentee already at Galloway. You don't have to have a kid at Galloway. You can go into any school that you want to go in. My preference would be that you go to Galloway, Johnson, Walton, or Lanier. That would be my preference. But you could go to, and I say that because I'm a part of the community school network, and those are community schools. I would welcome you at Galloway because I got to go do something over there. They've been pulling me. But listen, the idea is just to get men inside of these buildings and connected to these children. They need male mentors. We need male mentors. Whether you're a dad, a granddad, an uncle, a brother, a cousin, a church member, a basketball buddy, whatever it is. Mentoring is not a one size fit all, right? And that's honestly why I'm removing myself from all these organizations that continue to do the same thing over and over and over again and just checking a box for mentoring, because that's not what mentoring is. Mentoring is not a cookie cutter approach. Mentoring is not a one size fits all. Mentoring is not some, grown person just lecturing to children. That's not what mentoring is. That's not what mentoring is at all. Mentoring is about understanding the needs, the individual needs of children. Mentoring is about listening. Mentoring is not about how much money you have in your pockets. You don't have to have a dime. That's not what mentoring is. Mentoring does not care about your position in the community. No, that's not what mentoring is. Mentoring don't care about how many boards you sit on, how many degrees you have, and come on, man. No. And I will tell you, we will continue to miss the mark if we continue mentoring the same old way. Mentoring is about changing lives. Mentoring is about exposure. It's about putting these kids on a different trajectory. No child should be defined by their zip code. No child should be defined by their zip code. No child should miss opportunities based on their zip code. So I invite you to come to Galloway Elementary School on Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. Event starts at 9:15. I've been promoting 9 so that we can start for sure, at 9:15. Mentoring is about building relationships. Let me tell you something. Quick story and I'm gone. One of my mentees at Johnson, tough guy, right? Tough guy. Want to act out, want to fight, want to hit, right? Tough guy. Man, starving for attention, and that's all. And once I snatched him, no, bro, you can't act out like that. So here's the story. So, tough guy came in first place in his division for the reading fair, right? Came in first place in his division at the reading fair. And so he won at his school, first place, right? And then he went on to the district competition. I go over to the district competition and he was not there. He was so happy to show me his project. He was so excited. He told me the date, all of that. I get there and he's not there. I'm like, where is this dude? Why is he not here? Turns out they had the wrong time, But guess what? Turns out mom had the wrong time. And so they got to spend the day there, at the event and didn't have to go back to their building. Anyway, they had the wrong time. They thought the time started later. That's what I did. I went and got him. And carried his butt there. Because that's where he needed to be. I went and got him. My point is this. Mentoring is about relationships. Mentoring is about connecting young people that can help change their lives, that can expose them to different things, that can teach them and help them understand how to make decisions. That's what mentoring is. It's a transformation process. And I know, brothers, you got some time to give. If it's no more than an hour a week, you got some time to give. Somebody help me. Somebody help you. And so this is an opportunity to pay it forward, to help these young people. And I guarantee you, if more men got inside of these schools and had direct contact with helping these children, the narrative around Jackson Public Schools would change. I promise you that. So I invite you out on Wednesday, 9 o'clock, Galloway for Donuts with Dads. And let's have a real conversation about how we can change the trajectory of these kids in public schools. So if you know it, brother, and ladies, you're welcome to come. It's an outreach for men, Donuts with Dads, but you can come. 9 o'clock is the time that I'm calling. We'll kick off at 9:15. And let's have a conversation about how we can reach these kids. Each one, teach one. And I'll tell you this. What they see is what they'll be. What they see is what they'll be. Join me Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock, Galloway Elementary School. All right, Galloway Elementary School, Wednesday at 9. But before Wednesday, we got to get through tomorrow, 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Let's finish the job. Stay strong, stay focused, stay encouraged. Let's get the job done. Kamisha Mumford, Senate District 26. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care.